Hello, welcome to this update for the U.S. and Canada. So, let's see. It has been some days since our last update, and the lake effect snow in parts of the Great Lakes was really intense these last few days. There was a bunch of problems there, some pileups of cars and everything. So, hope you're all doing well there from the lake effect. And let's see what will happen because we still expect some more snow, some of those areas, and also in Canada. So now we have still the atmospheric river parts of southern Alaska and western Canada, and still a little bit of lake effect left, but not that much, and shows some rain in snow central Canada as well. So the European model shows this system there from central Canada will go down like Wednesday, tomorrow, more into southern Canada. Probably bring some more snow parts of the Great Lakes and the northern Midwest in those areas. So this is Wednesday, especially Thursday. The Europeans is going to the northeast as well. Some more snow there. Shows more snow on like Wednesday night already and Thursday mornings. Some more even northern Ohio, Michigan, Pennsylvania, especially New York into New England. This is like Thursday morning, later on Thursday, like Thursday afternoon, still shows some more snow in Maine and New Brunswick, especially like into northern New York, shows a little bit. West Virginia, finger or two in the Appalachians, shows more snow like much of central southern Quebec and Ontario, and more like those areas. Thursday night still shows heavier there in Atlantic Canada, that front in Nova Scotia. This goes into Newfoundland, and some heavier snow in eastern Quebec and Labrador on Friday, and still some lingering lake effect near like New York, and even some snow left in Vermont, New Hampshire, and Pennsylvania Friday. So this goes. And the European does show another system, northern Michigan and Wisconsin Saturday, in parts of southern Canada as well, especially like in Ontario and southern Quebec. Saturday might affect the northeast too, and shows like Sunday another snow system through central Canada and maybe into the northeast as well on the 9th. And then later we might have more stuff after that, maybe some severe weather or more snow in the northwest next week. So let's see in the south this week. It's just very chilly and shows some storms in Texas Wednesday, tomorrow possibly, and into Thursday in Louisiana shows a storm or two, and maybe some showers in Florida on Friday and late Thursday, but nothing that crazy. And on the west, it's still quiet across the Pacific Northwest, and especially in California. Still quiet. You might get some more snow there after December 7th. So Saturday, the Europeans more rain and some snow there. And all the way like Sunday into Idaho, Montana, and down to Wyoming. It does have a storm or two in New Mexico, a snow or two like Sunday, and then Northern California next Monday, and the European does get snow all the way to like Kansas on December 10th. So we watch that and more stuff later. But now the GFS for those same systems, because let's focus more on this area now that was affected by the lake effect, and there'll be more snow like I showed you on the European. So the GFS is also Wednesday night, already some snow in Ohio, Pennsylvania, many parts of New York, especially in the north. The shows more like in Vermont a little bit, Maine, especially Michigan and like southern Ontario and Quebec, some heavier snow. Does show a tiny bit in New York City possibly, and then does go throughout Thursday throughout the northeast. Also some rain in the coast of Maine, especially to Atlantic and the more some heavy rain there. And does show some heavier snow in eastern Quebec and Newfoundland. This goes Friday, still some snow lingering near the northeast, and Saturday still shows some snow there throughout like southern Ontario, even like further north to Manitoba, the other systems, central Ontario. And later Saturday, still a snow or two near New York in those areas. But later comes the next system, but this one might stay more in Canada and affect parts of Maine as well. So Sunday, this goes there, and the GFS does have December 9th, a bigger like stormy system near like the south. This goes and brings some rain on the east coast on Tuesday, the 10th, and then shows more snow potentially near the plains and the north, also on Tuesday the 10th. And this goes to like the northeast in Canada, shows some heavier snow like December 12th, because eastern Canada shows more snow, more rain on the south as well, some more storms on the 12th, even shows us north to central Texas. So yeah, be aware. Just some other models to see if they all agree. So let's see. Basically, this first system now that's in central Canada, it's coming, and you bring more snow to like the northeast and the Great Lakes, like the other two models showed. So they are in good agreement with this first one. Shows snow all the way from Virginia to Maine on Thursday, especially near New York and like Vermont, Pennsylvania, more near the lakes as well. So those areas affected by the lake effect, be aware of more snow coming. Thursday, this goes there. Friday shows more like in Atlantic Canada, some heavy rain and snow, and also Siempe and Miquelon and some areas. So this goes and like will probably affect Greenland later. And then this is Saturday. Sunday shows the other system lingering near the northeast and southern Ontario and Quebec. Potential more snow Sunday the 8th. And then also shows on Monday that potentially severe weather system there. So be aware in those areas. Before we look at the west, let's just look some other things about the system. So the wind gusts first here like uh, miles per hour. So it shows Wednesday. This comes so higher gusts near the Great Lakes and shows like near North Dakota and Minnesota a little bit higher as well on Wednesday. Thursday, this shows like still on Wednesday night, more Minnesota, some 48, 47 mile per hour gusts in the Great Lakes as well, northern Iowa, and the GFS shows also wind around those areas already on Wednesday night, but has a little bit different. The icon has some high gusts in Iowa and Minnesota as well into Illinois. So continuing here, the European shows Thursday, some high gusts in the Appalachians, so be aware there. West Virginia, North Carolina, and Kentucky. This goes, and then Thursday, later on Thursday, like in the afternoon or night, shows some 56, 55 mile per hour gusts in Pennsylvania, more central Pennsylvania, but near the lakes, close to 46 mile per hour gusts from time to time in New Jersey, some higher gusts near Philadelphia, New York, close to 44 mile per hour gusts, and this goes there. The icon has like some gusty winds there too, maybe not as much, and the GFS a little bit less, but does have some gusty winds too. So this goes Thursday, still a little bit breezier Friday across Maine, some areas there, but later, especially like Friday afternoon, shows more like New Hampshire, Maine, some higher gusts, and then this goes away there. And later shows maybe on Tuesday the 10th a little bit breezier, but Sunday shows a little bit breezier near the Great Lakes because of that system, but nothing really that crazy. And later, like on Tuesday on the Great Lakes, shows more, and maybe windier again the northeast the December 12th and the Appalachians, but we'll check that as time goes on. And now the western US shows like Wednesday, it's more calm there, just on the Midwest and those areas, the higher gusts. But Thursday, Friday, more calm, maybe windy a day or two in Arizona, some 37 mile per hour gusts Friday. This goes and like it's okay there. Maybe New Mexico after December 9th, Monday, shows some higher gusts. The icon has like in Colorado, some higher gusts Monday, and the GFS is kind of in between, shows New Mexico a little bit higher, Wyoming, but the European continues with New Mexico and Wyoming on like December 9th. This goes, and the European gets some very high gusts December 9th at night, especially Arizona, some Southern California, New Mexico, and Texas into northern Mexico too. So this goes there, and still windy across Texas on the 11th, and yeah, so this goes there. Be aware, but this week nothing that crazy. In the northwest does show This goes North Dakota, South Dakota, those higher gusts that I showed before, be aware there. More than 44 mile per hour gusts. This goes still quiet. Some days in northern Montana, especially after Friday, some 50 mile per hour gusts. Alright, Friday morning, some into like Friday night and Saturday shows really like some 62 mile per hour gusts, 56 on Saturday morning. The icon has like a similar thing, some 59 to almost 64 mile per hour gusts. All there is northern Montana, and it has more scared to the European again. Shows like Saturday still some high gusts in Montana, has all the way to like 68 mile per hour gusts on Saturday afternoon. This goes and shows the high gusts Sunday, southeastern Wyoming, some areas there, and like this goes away. Maybe more stuff across Utah on the 10th, or Colorado, even the plains again. And California on the 10th does show a little bit higher gusts on the mountains, but yeah. So be aware just to show the icon because it has a different scenario. This goes the things in the Midwest, and then it does show starting Friday in Montana, maybe to central southern Montana, in the mountains of Wyoming, Friday afternoon, some higher gusts northern Utah. Saturday, the icon really kicks up in Montana, some 72 mile per hour gusts, as there is some in Washington as well. And then this goes and shows more, even more Montana, like all the way to some 75 mile per hour gusts on Sunday. So that's kind of different from the European. Wyoming too has some higher gusts Sunday. This goes in the icon gets like a crazy situation Sunday night, some high winds all the way from Montana to New Mexico, throughout Colorado, the plains, Wyoming, in some areas. And then this goes there and shows even more later next week. But be aware, nothing that crazy this week in the on the west there. So here, let's see what they expect with some stuff. So today's Tuesday shows some freezing rain possible near Minnesota, North Dakota, some mixed precipitation, some thunderstorms in Texas probably, and that snow all the way from Minnesota to Maine, and some heavier snow in Michigan there. So be aware, Tuesday. Wednesday shows more areas of heavier snow from Maine, New York, Pennsylvania again, more from like Minnesota, and more like general snow possible from North Dakota to Maine. So be aware there. It shows like some mixed precipitation all the way to the southern Appalachians, more rainstorms near the south. And Thursday shows some more heavy snow areas possible near Maine and New York, parts of Pennsylvania, and still like Michigan, some areas in Vermont and New Hampshire. So be aware, some mixed precipitation still near the east coast, and even New Mexico and Arizona in the mountains and across the west, some mixed precipitation. So this is Thursday, right? The DRI is showing something there. Quantitative precipitation for Wednesday tomorrow shows more that snow there near the Great Lakes and the storms in Texas. Thursday through Friday shows more there in the northeast from that system, more rain throughout Louisiana, all the way to Florida. Friday to Saturday shows more in Texas, some in the northwest already, and some more in the northeast. Saturday to Sunday shows more there in Texas and especially the northwest starting again. Day 7, some more precipitation in the northwest and still in Texas there, Louisiana and Arkansas. Sunday to Monday to Tuesdays, heavier from Texas to Kentucky, that's severe weather. And day 7 shows more to Florida, those storms continuing next Tuesday to Wednesday. So they do have the 7-day total close to 5 inches or even 7 inches, Texas and Louisiana, even to Florida and Alabama. So be aware in those areas of what's coming. And also the snow in the northeast and more precipitation in the northwest. Starting this weekend, excessive rainfall, marginal southern Texas today, Tuesday, Wednesday nothing, Thursday, Friday, Saturday. So yeah, mainly today, but be aware of the storms in those other days as well. The snowfall that does show those higher probabilities today, Tuesday, in the Great Lakes and parts of Canada, but does show like more northern Michigan already in some areas. Wednesday shows more snow like New York, more near like Pennsylvania, New York, those areas affected by the lake effect, and more like northern Michigan, the UP of Michigan as well. In Maine shows more, and some other areas. Thursday through Friday shows more, still near the Great Lakes, uh, near Michigan, especially Ohio, near Pennsylvania, more northern Maine into Canada, so heavier snow there. Friday to Saturday shows more there, still a thing or two in the Great Lakes, so be aware. New York, near Pennsylvania. Saturday to Sunday shows more New York still, and more starting on the northwest, especially Washington. Sunday to Monday shows more central Canada lingering and more near the mountains of the northwest. And next Monday to Tuesday shows more there, even the southern Rockies, a thing or two in the northeast. So be aware in those areas. So here they have like some probabilities of freezing rain. So they do have some high probabilities today, Tuesday, North Dakota and Minnesota, and also into parts of Manitoba, some higher probabilities there. So be aware. Later into Thursday, still a slight probability to near Minnesota. Later Thursday shows more starting again near like some probabilities near Washington and Oregon, and also up into Alberta shows some. Later into Friday, still some slight probabilities Washington and Oregon, and later this this even shown like in Texas some freezing rain probabilities. This is very crazy. This one like Friday, but I don't think this will happen. But you never know. This is just a probability. Doesn't mean it will happen. It's just a probability. The snowfall shows very high today across Canada and parts of the northern Great Lakes. Thursdays high across northern Michigan and parts of the northeast until Thursday. Later until Thursday, still very high probabilities in Canada and parts of the northeast. Thursday night, grabbing all the way into Maine and like New York, heavier Pennsylvania into Friday shows more there in the northeast, still some probabilities, and later on Friday, still some probabilities there near Michigan, still especially in Maine, New York, in those areas. So be aware of the snow, those areas. In terms of storms, those storms in Texas from time to time, still on Wednesday tomorrow, and on Thursday still some, but still nothing in terms of severe weather. It's more quiet, and fires kind of fine as well. So for the snow here, or yeah, for 8 hour snowfall until Friday. So this like until late Thursday or Friday, because today is Tuesday, so until Thursday shows more there. Northern Michigan, those areas, and northern Wisconsin shows more into West Virginia, some into Western Virginia, shows more into New York and Pennsylvania, especially northwestern Pennsylvania and New York, shows more in Maine and New England, those areas. So be aware, those purples, reds are close to like 12 inches, especially northern Michigan has close to 16 to even 20 inches a spot or two, and like 10 to 12 inches some spots in New York and Pennsylvania. So be aware there. The 24-hour max wind gusts until Wednesday afternoon tomorrow shows those higher gusts near 50 or like 40 and something miles per hour in the north, in Minnesota, especially in the Dakotas, some breezier conditions generally in the Midwest, the Great Lakes. So be aware those areas, and a thing or two in Montana, Wyoming, and now the 24-hour freezing rain, just to see if they show something. Shows a thing or two in Minnesota, North Dakota, but nothing crazy. Only like a very small hint. So be aware of those areas. The warnings, we do have some free freezing fog advisories across Nevada and California and Oregon. Some those winter storm watches are in Maine, New York, parts of Pennsylvania, even western Maryland, West Virginia. Freeze warnings, parts of Florida, Georgia, and southeastern Alabama. Some freeze watches near central northern Florida, and frost advisories too. So be aware. And shows some air stagnant advisory and air quality alert near Oregon and Idaho still. Some fog advisories, the mountains there. So yeah, be aware in those areas. And blizzard warning northeastern Alaska. So be careful northeastern Alaska. Wind weather advisory southeastern Alaska, southwestern Alaska, and more like northern Alaska. Some wind and wind weather advisories. And there, the flood watches near southern Alaska. There's that atmospheric river, and ice storm warning northern, like parts of southern Alaska. So you check here, like here, let's see if it's really there. So shows ice storm warning effect until 3 p.m. Alaska time this afternoon. Significant ice and additional snow accumulations up to 1 inch and ice accumulations quarter of an inch. So Haines and Haines Highway. So some of these warnings are about to expire, but be aware the link is in the description to check the warnings. And now for Canada, we do have a bunch of watches there, so winter storm watches and stuff. So starting out west in Alberta, some flash freeze warnings, some locations there. Basically, those locations that show here, not all of Alberta, like near western Alberta, British Columbia. They do say temperatures expected to fall rapidly. Previous melted snow and slush will freeze, the temperature drops quickly, creating icy conditions. So be careful in those areas. So yeah, and in other locations here it says the same thing, so be careful. We'll check the temperatures there in a minute. British Columbia, those fresh freeze warnings near Alberta there, and shows like some fog advisories, some valleys. Usually the fog is mainly in the morning, like this morning, but be aware during the mornings. Some special weather statements near north coast, and heavy rain, strong winds expected still because of the atmosphere river. Shows until Wednesday morning this advisory. Manitoba, some snowfall warnings because the system there now. Snowfall amounts to 15 to 25 centimeters expected. Some areas there, so be aware. New Brunswick, some special weather statements for this system coming. Shows significant snowfalls possible Thursday. Northern New Brunswick in some areas, and also in other parts in New Brunswick. So be careful. You can check the description. And like Nova Scotia, some snow squall watches for this coming. So snow squalls expected to develop. Under snow squall bands, visibility might significantly be reduced due to heavy snow. The snow will quickly accumulate 10 to 20 centimeters in snow squalls, some locations there. This afternoon until Wednesday afternoon, it shows. So be aware. Ontario, a bunch of watches and warnings, like snow squall warnings, already happening, especially in the Great Lakes. So there's a lot here. You can check the link in the description and find your location here. But they have like snow squall warnings, special weather statements for like winter weather advisories, and here more snow squall watches as well. Some and like here shows snow squalls are possible tonight and Wednesday. Some locations there, more snow squall warnings and special weather statements in the gray. Locally heavy snowfall, accumulation near 10 centimeters. This goes there and shows more like basically snow squall warnings and watches there near Niagara Falls in some areas. Snow squalls tonight and Wednesday possible. Be careful with the poor visibility and everything. Some snow squall warnings are in effect. With the heaviest snow expected tonight, see Josephine Island and some other areas. There are a bunch of other locations here, more weather advisories in other areas. So be sure to check here and stay safe. Prince Edward Island, snow squall watch as well. Snow squall is expected to develop. Be careful the low visibilities, 10 to 20 centimeters in some snow squalls. So late this afternoon until Wednesday afternoon, it says here. Be careful in Quebec, some special weather statements in many locations of Quebec, so in all these locations here. So first significant snowfall, possibly reaching 15 centimeters locally in some areas. In Yukon, they have some blizzard, extreme cold and snowfall. Extreme cold in Old Crow, snowfall in Watson Lake today and tonight. Shows blizzard near Dempster, blizzard conditions, poor visibility, snow, blowing snow expected or occurring. And the extreme cold in some areas near 50 degrees Celsius, the wind chills this morning, and be aware next morning too might be similar. So be careful in those areas. And now let's check the wind gusts for Canada, those areas there, because of this system coming. So here there's the system there now, some breezier conditions like Saskatchewan, Alberta, this goes. Some lakes there in Manitoba, Lake Winnipeg and some areas show some higher gusts in the lake, southwestern Ontario too. So be careful Wednesday through Thursday, some higher gusts in the lakes. This goes, and and be aware like many areas like some spots 64 kilometer per gusts in what areas you never know. This model shows an estimation of the wind gusts, but it's not that precise. Some models have a difference, so always be aware during all times. So this shows Thursday. Thursday we'll start getting this situation on the east coast that shows the system approaching Nova Scotia, right? It's some 78 kilometer per gusts. This goes there, breezy like New Brunswick, northern Nova Scotia, but especially Friday, the European model has very high winds for like, especially northern Nova Scotia, close to 70 and 80 kilometer per gust. In New Brunswick, shows more there Thursday into Friday. Friday morning, like they still like Thursday night in Canadian time, but shows like some 104 all the way to 114 kilometer per gust, around some 92 kilometer per gust, and already starting like southern Newfoundland close to 121 kilometer per gust. The European model has these goals, some in eastern Quebec as well. Be careful of the waves and everything. And late on like Friday morning, Friday afternoon, has like more 115 kilometer per gust, southern Newfoundland, also Saint-Pierre Miquelon. So like St. John's, some higher gusts, much of those areas into like Labrador and eastern Quebec as well. Shows still in some spots central eastern Quebec, some higher gusts, and New Brunswick a little bit breezier. But later Friday this keeps going. Still by Friday night, some higher gusts near like northern New Brunswick and Quebec, and some breezier conditions, still high gusts on the coast. So be careful. To Saturdays it starts calming down, but still breezier from time to time, like Sunday some areas. And yeah, so this goes there, and shows maybe Monday some higher gusts near eastern Quebec and Newfoundland again, especially near the coast. And then later shows another system, December 12th, Newfoundland, some higher gusts, and this goes there, and still some high gusts on the 15th near Labrador. And the Europeans like a crazy low pressure system just off the coast on the 15th with some higher gusts as well. And it has like a nor'easter or something on the 17th with some higher gusts as well. So most of this information after December 12th will still change a lot. I only showed you so you know this might come in case we take long to make more videos, but be aware. But now in the short term, let's see the icon for this system this week. So it does show Thursday night those winds kicking up around Nova Scotia, those areas, and eastern Quebec. There's some spots very high gusts there. So this goes Thursday into Friday, shows some higher gusts like into Newfoundland, all the 217 kilometer per gust, more like in eastern Quebec still. This goes, and yeah, it's very similar to the European, perhaps a little bit less in some areas, but the GFS, for example, is all the 121 kilometer per gust for Friday morning, those areas. So be careful the waves as well, and does show like the rain accumulation from this until Sunday shows more rain there. A big amount of this might be snow, but right on the coast it's likely there will be more rain, so be aware. Sometimes in some areas of heavy rain, be aware of like the risk of flash flooding if the rain is heavier. And we will talk about the west, yeah, better now, because it shows there like 157 millimeters to 145 on the west coast, like near the northwest as well. So be careful in southern and western British Columbia there, and southern Alaska still showing some very high values, close to like some like 6 inches, some 8 inches still. So still be careful that heavy rain, some of the flood watches there, and stay safe. The snowfall Now the show, so let's put it until Friday. So it shows close to like some 84 inches in southern Alaska, some 68 inches, 59 inches, 51 inches, and more there some 46 inches. Be aware some lighter snow for southwestern, central Alaska, western Alaska, and the Arctic. And it doesn't show much in those islands there, but shows more along those mountains and heavier snow in Alaska. So be careful there. And now British Columbia does show some 13 centimeters, heavy on the northeastern, northwestern mountains. Finger two in the south until Friday, but not really. Mainly eastern British Columbia into Alberta there shows more there in Alberta, and some 10 centimeters into southern Saskatchewan. The European model has this system now in Manitoba shows some 5, 7 centimeters, some 8 centimeters, more there 10 centimeters, more to like those areas, especially southern Ontario near the lake, so 24 centimeters, uh, 21. So be aware. And those areas of lake effect, we aren't expecting as heavy as we had in these last few days, but be be aware because this can overperform like it did in Pennsylvania. So you never know. And it does show like some 24 centimeters until Friday, like in eastern Quebec, more snow for central southern Quebec, and more like there in Newfoundland and Labrador, some 38 centimeters, some 24. So be aware in those areas. Now, what's happening here? So there's snow here. So the show this until Friday, until Sunday, it increases more in some parts of Newfoundland Labrador, in Quebec. Not much of a difference, but like goes from this to this. So it does increase a little bit more. Southern Ontario, some 20, 30 centimeters. And shows more, right? Because until Friday, we had this in Manitoba, and until Saturday, shows more there. This band of this corridor of snow just coming down. So be aware, not northern Saskatchewan, those areas into like northwestern territories. Yukon until next Sunday does show some like 31 centimeters of snow, some areas there. So yeah, be aware. This is until Sunday. Until Friday we had this in British Columbia. Until Sunday we started having this some heavier southeastern British Columbia. Also the mountains southwestern British Columbia into Washington start showing more snow there. So be aware, all the way down to Oregon has this band in Alberta as well. Not southernmost areas, but like central Alberta into slightly southern Saskatchewan. So be aware. Now for the northeast, does show some. The European does have some parts of New York, some 18 inches, something like 12 inches, 8 inches near Buffalo, has some 9 inches until Sunday, has in Erie some 7 inches, some other areas of Cleveland, Central Ohio shows more in Pennsylvania, some 3 inches, West Virginia a little bit, in Vermont has some 8 inches, Maine some 11 inches, so be aware, and like the GFS is similar thing, maybe not as much as the European some areas, but all the way to 12 inches in some areas, near Pennsylvania too. The icon is like near central western New York, some 15 inches, more across Maine. Those areas, the icon is a little bit more in western, in eastern Quebec as well, close to like some 30 centimeters or even more. And yeah, the arc was more across the west too until Sunday in Idaho, some 8 inches. In Washington, there's more some snow in Wyoming too. And the European had more down, more down to Oregon as well. Some in Arizona, some spots in New Mexico, some snow in Oregon, Washington, and yeah. So be aware next weekend there. It does show some whispers of snow, like near the Tennessee, North Carolina, and show some whispers in Indiana, especially northern Indiana. Does show Texas 0.5 centimeters as well. So yeah, be aware the GFS has a similar thing, and if I put this until the 15th, alright, it shows more, especially across Canada, but some more in the southern plains as well. The European has way more in the Rockies and some very big amounts until the 15th across the northwest there, and more across Canada in some areas. So yeah, be aware, but we'll monitor that later as well. So be aware of the snow and everything. So let's just see the temperatures very fast. So first here does show some probabilities in the U.S. today. So This afternoon it's already cold there, even during the day. Some is in southern Arizona, but the north is very cold, especially the northeast. Some 20s there, but tonight into tomorrow, the show all the way to like 32 Fahrenheit in northern North Dakota, even less. Shows all the way to like 29 in northern Florida, 41 in Tampa, and some 45 further south. So yeah, be aware. And throughout some 20 teens, North Carolina, Virginia, some like 13 Fahrenheit in Maine, and even less Minnesota, pretty cold in the mountains, especially in Colorado, some higher peaks, and some like 20, 19 to 21 Fahrenheit. Those are the areas. Northern Montana, pretty cold. Some 40s, 50s parts of northern Southern California. And yeah, day 2 maximum for Wednesday. Still some 20s and 30s across the north, even teens, and some like 30s in the northeast during the day. Some 70s in Florida, southern Texas, and southern California, all the way to 80. But some 50s in the plains in some areas, and still kind of coldish there. But Thursday morning, Wednesday night, the show all the way to -5 Fahrenheit, northern North Dakota, some -3, some 20s, all the way down to like Missouri, some 20s to northeast as well. And but shows a little bit less cold in South Carolina, those areas compared to tonight, but still chilly, and shows like 10, 9 Fahrenheit, much colder across the north and the mountains of the west too. During the day on Thursday, still shows some 10, 9 Fahrenheit in Minnesota, some 20s across the Midwest, 30s the Northeast, and kind of cold across those high elevations of the West already. And the minimum temperatures for Thursday morning, like Friday morning, Thursday night, does show this cold coming down again to like some 30s in northern Florida, 20s in Georgia, North Carolina, South Carolina, some teens throughout Kentucky and Tennessee, some like 6, 5 Fahrenheit, Minnesota, North and South Dakota again, some 20s, very cold across the Northeast, some teens in the Midwest, so be aware. And across the Rockies, cold as well, very frigid in the in the higher elevations, in Nevada, California, some 18 Fahrenheit, 21 in the mountains of Oregon, Idaho, those areas there. So be aware. Show still during the day on Friday, some colder 30s and 20s the northeast and the Midwest, and shows like a little bit warmer the southwest and South Florida, and still chilly across the mountains even during the day. As Saturday morning, Friday night shows some 30s all the way to Georgia, some like 14, 11, even like 10 Fahrenheit in New Hampshire and Maine. So be aware there. So like 15, 20 across the Appalachians, 17, and some like 20s all the way down to Missouri, some teens in the northern Midwest, northern plains, and some 20s throughout some parts of the mid south, not the mid south, but like Kentucky, the Midwest, Tennessee, and those areas. So be aware. Some 20s across the plains and some 30s, especially the northern plains. Very cold in the Rockies and like Utah, Colorado, Wyoming, in those areas. Day 5 shows like some colder temperatures during the day on Saturday in the northeast and northern Midwest. It's a little bit warmer southern Florida and Arizona, southern California. Some 60s and 70s in Los Angeles. It shows still coldish on the mountains there during the day. Saturday night into Sunday shows colder in the west. On the west, some 20s all the way down to New Mexico, especially in the mountains, and more in the Colorado Rockies, in some parts of the Sierra Nevada and Nevada. Shows more across the northwestern mountains. A little bit like milder on the coast, but colder in the mountains. Still some like low teens in the northeast, especially New England. Some like 20s and 30s all the way to South Carolina, and some 40s northern Florida, 30s in northern Georgia, some 20s across the Midwest and some areas there. So be aware. Sunday during the day shows already colder across the mountains of the west, even during the day, especially Wyoming and Idaho, and Washington and Montana, but still kind of coldish in Minnesota and the northeast during the day. But Monday morning, the 9th, does show cold across Wyoming splash some 14, 10 Fahrenheit, those high elevations, some 27 in Fahrenheit, 26 in Colorado, and those mountains might be some teens, some low teens, shows more like in Nevada, some 14 to 23, except in the south it's 44, but shows like 18 all the way down to some mountains in Arizona, New Mexico, some 20s and teens near like southern Montana especially, but much of Montana, North Dakota, some 20s, 30s into Iowa, Kansas as well, and some 30s near the northwest and some low 40s. The northeast still some low teens, New England, some 20s, some 30s all the way down to Virginia, even north of North Carolina, some 30s. So be aware. And next Monday during the day shows still some colder temperatures across the north. This is still already during the day, like across the north and the mountains of the west. So like teens and 20s in those high elevations, and the northeast kind of coldish and kind of surprisingly warmer in the south next Monday. So yeah, be aware in those areas. Now, the temperatures are across Canada does show very chilly. There's some minus 31, minus 39. Those areas some minus 16. But this like now, at tonight to tomorrow, does show some areas like some minus 32. Some spots of Yukon Northwest Territory some minus 36 still. But some wind chills, like they mentioned, could be close to minus 50, but minus 4. It's not as cold as it was this morning, but still be aware. Shows more like minus 22, minus 21 near like northern Saskatchewan, Alberta, especially minus 28 northern Alberta. Pretty cold already in Quebec, some minus 20s, and like in Labrador as well, central Ontario, and all the way to like southern Quebec and Ontario, so minus 2, minus 4, minus 5, minus 11 in Quebec City, and shows more there in some areas. And some parts of British Columbia getting kind of a break, but still coldish in other areas. This is Wednesday, it shows a little bit of cold air diving down to Manitoba, so minus 26, minus 27, Nunavut, so minus 35, and higher in the Arctic, even colder, and shows more there like Northwestern Territories, some areas of Yukon, colder, a little less colder on the coast still, but colder there those areas. Shows more like southern British Columbia, some areas into like very cold Quebec and Labrador, New Brunswick, and like on the Atlantic is also cold like Newfoundland, Nova Scotia, New Brunswick, and like this goes Thursday, shows like very cold air concentrated near Nunavut, northern Manitoba. This goes there, a little break there, but colder northwestern territories and like northern Ontario, although southern Ontario, so it's a minus 4, minus 13, minus 5 in Quebec, so minus 18. So this goes Friday, Saturday, shows Saturday morning. This cold air coming down to central Ontario, still some minus 33 in Nunavut, Manitoba, northern Quebec, very cold, so minus 6, southern Ontario, minus 5, even minus 20, southern Quebec. In Labrador, so minus 3 still, across Newfoundland, Nova Scotia, minus 7, New Brunswick. So be aware, this goes there and still show like into next Mondays, more cold air like to Manitoba and Nunavut. This goes to Ontario. Those low temperatures does show the south a little bit warmer, but still like 0 degrees. And Quebec, some minus 15 still. Getting colder across the west again next Monday. British Columbia, those negative temperatures. Alberta, and this fluctuates more into next week. So yeah, be aware those areas and stay safe. And also, especially the wind chills, like the feels like temperatures in those areas. So there's, for example, the GFS shows, so like this is in Fahrenheit, but shows all the way to minus 23 Fahrenheit wind chills in Ontario already. Like this is Friday, shows minus 11 near northern Manitoba, might be close to like some minus 25 or something Fahrenheit. They might be close to minus 30 Celsius wind chills, but the next week Monday shows all the way to like minus 35 wind chills or something. They might be close to minus 40 or just like minus 38 Celsius or something. So be careful if it is like minus 20 Celsius, for example. depending on the wind and everything, might feel like minus 30 or like minus 25. So be careful with that as well, and stay safe with frost and everything else.